I think that books are like the most difficult media to engage with because it gives you nothing but the word. You have to put it together in your head. The words on their own are meaningless. You have to assemble them. The scenes, the context of the scene, the way people look and sound, how an event must have felt. Books require a lot of mental effort to construct what you're reading, you know? And I think that it's good that people engage their minds in that way. What about audiobooks? Same thing. I mean, audiobooks are a bit easier because you're listening, but you still have to construct what's happening in your head. Like, the only difference there is you're listening rather than like reading it, but fundamentally you're still constructing it in your head, you know? You're doing the conceptualization, right? So you have to actively listen to follow what's, yeah, you know. I prefer audiobooks because I'm good at reading. I just get distracted easily, you know? Anyway, I think that when you conceptualize stuff that you read, you're doing a lot of brain work that you don't really do in other ways in your day-to-day life. I think that you're flexing your imagination in a really cool way. I'm not one of those boomers who thinks that, like, TVs are bad for your brain. I think that's horseshit or whatever, or, like, any media or, like, movies are bad for your brain. Or comics are bad for your brain. I don't think that's true at all. I do, however, think there's, like, a unique appeal to the book, to literature as a concept, audio or read, you know, like, in a book. I think that's cool. So I think the issue in my mind, right, is that one of the virtues of books is the fact that you're doing that conceptualization work, which requires a lot of mental energy, requires creativity, requires thought. I think that reading or listening to audiobooks, whatever, if done properly, can make you a richer and smarter person. Richer, like, mentally, right? Like emotionally, you know? I think that it's a thing you can't necessarily get as easily from other forms of media. Reading is special. I think it's cool, you know? People don't read that much anymore, it seems, but like, whatever. You know, we also, like, TV shows are more interesting and engaging than they ever have been before. It's not like watching The Wire doesn't enhance your, you know, like, if you engage with The Wire and you think about it and you engage with it and you ponder what is happening and you reflect on what is happening, you know, that's also very mentally enriching, I think. But anyway, the thing that bothers me, I think, about the patterns that I see from the outside in book talk or in the, like, TikTok trend or the YA trend or whatever, is that it feels like people are going for books that they know already appeal to the specific things they like. Right, they're going after books because they have, like, a checklist of tropes that they're interested in. Now, this is the way, like, Wattpad fiction and archive of our own fiction tend to be, like, written, you know? Like, you see a big, like, written thing and it's got a bunch of chapters and words, but all the tags are there at the top. Now, I don't think that looking at something based on its tags is inherently bad. Isn't that all media? No, 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 none of that was normal. Tags on media? No, that's not normal at all. And that wasn't the case for books. With books, all you got was the blurb on the back of the cover, reviews online, whatever else. The problem that I have, I think, in my opinion, is that over-categorization of the stuff that you're going to read ensures you're only reading stuff that you're already comfortable with. Now, I don't think that's necessarily a problem if you're, like, going after music in a genre that you like or whatever else, but I do think it's an issue where you're, like, looking for tags that specifically identify specific plot elements and character dynamics, or, like, specific, like, very specific settings, you know, like the very, very selective categorization, and then only reading it based on that. Like, in which case, you're not really trying to look for anything new or explore anything new. You're kind of just, like, you just like a thing and you want it over and over. That's not an exclusive issue with books. No, 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 you're misunderstanding. This wasn't an issue with books. I'm not just talking about genres here. I'm talking about tropes. This is the tropification of media consumption, and this is a new thing, not an old thing. This wasn't ever done anywhere until recently. This type of engagement with media is a new thing, and I think that it's particularly detrimental when it comes to books, because it undercuts the imaginative and explorative elements that are unique to the ways that we conceptualize what we read. Right? At that, there is a reason why archive of our own fiction and Wattpad fan fiction are categorically distinct to regular published books, and frankly, at a lower level. even if you have really, 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 really well-written Wattpad or like the AO3 thing or whatever, you're still ultimately like constructing it in an environment where it is like a tropified, categorized piece of like fan work, right? But I think that a book should be defined in part by its ambiguity. You have what you have on the back of the cover. I think it's important to engage with stuff like that. I don't really know. Can you imagine people like picking up books and getting recommended books and they're only going after the tropes they like? We're not jerking off to porn here. It's not like you're looking on a site going like, you know, female big cock, male bunny ear. Like we're not talking about like you jerking off. We're talking about like a creative exercise that could potentially last you weeks of engagement. And I don't know. I feel like it's a bad way of getting into it, you know? Yeah, bottling sunshine. I think people should be willing to try new things, you know? I think that to an extent people do this with TV shows and movies, right? Like movies don't come out that often and they tend to be big blockbuster events. Sorry, big mainstream movies don't come out that often and they tend to be big mainstream events. So when people watch movies, they tend to watch like what's big at the moment. They don't look at the movie's trope list and go, okay, this has enemies to lovers. This has abandonment by mother. You know, this doesn't have this. Does da, 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 da. Okay, yeah, this one's good. And then they watch it. Like that's not really. It's not really how people watch movies, and I don't think people watch TV shows that way either. People tend to be willing to like, you know, like maybe they like a genre or they like animation over live action or they like, oh, this is like a magical girl thing or whatever, whatever. What about catalogs of movies? I'm talking about trope lists. I'm not talking about like genre or whatever. Vaush, the two are not mutually exclusive. You can read a comfy, campy book and then a challenging new book. Yeah, but I don't think the comfy, campy book should be something that you selected via tropes. I think that you should like the author or have heard good things about the book. I think it's genuinely harmful to the way your imagination engages with a piece of media like that. If you're going like, I want a comfy, campy book. Let me select for something that's new and it's got like 6 tags that I like, but who does that? That's what I'm talking about. So are you against really detailed cover art that visualizes parts of the book's world or characters? Benjamin, do you want a month ban or an hour ban? Which would you prefer? For that retarded fucking question that you just asked, that you just spent energy, calories that your body processed to give you energy, and you used it to type that out. What would you prefer? I guess an hour, but it was a real question. And here is the real answer. Banned permanently. For 10 minutes. Also, it's just a mute.